All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are going to head into Game 2 draft here between Talon and, of course, the side of RNG. Jonathan, Game 1, it was a rough affair for Talon. I mean, there's no other way to put it. RNG completely dominated the game number 1. Obviously, very smart drafting, as we mentioned many times throughout that Game 1 with that last pick, position 3 AM for Chalice. And props to the man, John. In my eyes, he single-handedly just carried that game for RNG. I've got to ask you straight off the bat. Game number 2, what do you need to see differently from Talon to try and tie out this series? And is there anything in particular you'd like to see from RNG changed up, or do you think they just stick with the same kind of game plan?
I think RNG has the right game plan. If you give Savage a rough lane and give Mikado an even lane, there's no one that they can really throw the snowball on. Especially, I mean, KP had a decent enough lane as well, but he was up against Razor. Like you pointed out, you can't really dominate that lane with Spirit Siphon when you're just getting static linked anyway. So I think RNG understands what Talon tries to do with the draft, or even letting KP pick up his death profit, whereas other teams banned it out. And they should just be able to manage it from there. For Talon, they've got to adjust in the draft. Like they can't afford to kind of go into that. I think a big part of that equation that made it tough for them to draft for Savage was also that Skyrat Mage pickup by Kaka. Like they couldn't go for the Morphling. It's just never a good Morphling game when you have to deal with a Skyrat Mage. So they only really had the Medusa left to go into. And I think those are what they have to watch out for. The adaptability of Chalice to play something like the offlane AM, and just secret picks like the Skyrat Mage, which has been popping up more and more with that DK combination. So you need to be able to be flexible in the draft, and Talon can be, but they're not as flexible as other teams. So that is something that's going to get exploited pretty hard, especially because they have Zephyr instead of Q, right? Zephyr's standing in, filling in a slot, and he's doing fine enough, but to adjust your draft with a Pawns 4 you've only played with really for 2-3 days now, it isn't the easiest thing to do for the entire team. And I think very recently, all he's been playing is really tiny.
Well, you've got a lot of insight into Talon naturally being part of the organization, John. I want to ask you, what do you think the mindset of Talon is right now? Like, because we went to Savage, we know how well he plays this Medusa. It's one of his most comfortable carries to play. They end up losing in such a dominant fashion to RNG. Do you think that affects the mindset of Talon? Do you think they're a bit demoralized after that kind of series, or do you think they've reset effectively and they'll be able to come back and come in with a fresh mind for game number 2?
I think they understand what went wrong, and they're going to be able to reset off the back of it. Like they know it was just a tough Medusa lane to deal with. They didn't expect that aim to come out, and we'll see if that adjustments do come out, as we already have the draft on hand here, Mike, for game number 2. Already seeing the Brewmaster ban. Again, RNG, I don't expect too much changing there. Probably the Dawnbreaker or the Death Prophet, but they managed the DP well enough. Wouldn't be surprised by a Dawnbreaker ban. Talon can't quite first pick the Tiny. So they actually have to choose whether or not they want to ban that away, because that is something that RNG has been playing. And again, very flex to run it on the 4 on the mid. So RNG could potentially just take that to start off this game instead of the Razor, and build off from there and have an even stronger, aggressive 4 to play with.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens here. Of course, the bans are coming out. Surprise, surprise, RNG. Of course, again, respect banning the Brewmaster here for KP. Talon this time around will go for the Viper first ban.
5 seconds
RNG. Let's see what else they want to get rid of here against Talon. And I do wonder what kind of draft Talon goes into this game number 2. RNG. What kind of game plan they have for themselves for this game number 2. Obviously, maybe looking towards some different carries. The Medusa, while we have seen much success with it for Savage, it seems like RNG already kind of prepared for it. And you can tell just based off the drafts and how they ended, RNG definitely doing their homework on Talon before this series did begin. Very well aware of the specialty picks here of the Radiant team.
Radiant team ban.
And they'll get rid of the puck this time around. So, I mean, Mikado here did have a decent game to start off with. Obviously, it didn't transition well. But Puck's such a dominant hero right now in the current meta. So much scaling, just so powerful during all stages of the game. And they will just go ahead and get rid of it here, just not willing to give it back the way of Talon. It might just be the fact that they don't want to go back into Skywrath Mage here against the puck. Maybe Kaka just wanting to play something a little bit different here. And I'll see what Talon do pick up, or rather ban out for their second ban. It looks like they are going to get rid of the Razor. So just not happy with the Ana Razor they had to go up against last game around. And, well, again, last game they did first pick Razor. It has been a very popular hero this current meta as well. So just nobody wanting to really play against it if they can avoid it. And RNG, first pick is in their court once again.
5 seconds.
I wonder where they go.
Face the light.
Oh, all right. They go for the Dawnbreaker. Still a very strong hero. Still that flexibility on hand, throwing it off lane, safe lane, and support. So fairly open for RNG to kind of choose a lane for it. Gives you a lot of team fight, decent sustain, good damage. Gives a lot. And Talon also love to pick that hero up. They still have the option for the Tiny of Zephyr. That could be one way to handle the Dawnbreaker early on. At the very least, in terms of stopping the Starbreaker, you could go for the mixed pickup early on Talon, which Zephyr loves to play as well. Go to Winter Wyvern first, so they get to pick up their own, the sustain here, the team fight, the lane domination on Talon's end. That should give Savage a much better lane in comparison to the Snapfire. Like, it's very rare that the Winter Wyvern's not able to trade to at least force a little bit of space out for the safe lane. So this should provide a much stronger foundation for Talon to build off of.
Right. Let's see where else they go with this. I mean, it's a decent start here with the Winter Wyvern. Go right into the Tiny once again for Zephyr. Now, you kind of mentioned last game around, John Zephyr obviously having a pretty rough time on that position for Tiny. Mind you, of course, he did just kind of stand in for the team, so it is kind of expected that there might be maybe some communication issues, maybe some gelling issues going on here for Talon. Let's see if they can rectify that here with this pos for Tiny for the second game. RNG, on the other hand, straight into the Zeus. Another very popular pick to be made, just based off how flexible it is right now, and how ironically mobile Zeus is at the moment with Heavenly Jump. So they'll go ahead and pick that up for themselves. And, you know, like I said, John, very flexible pick here from RNG. Throw it into the mid lane, throw it into the support roles. It just doesn't matter. It's just such a powerful hero right now.
Yeah, and you have a really good global strat right now from RNG as long as you get one good initiator, Thunder God's Rat, and then just Solar Guardian on top of the hero, it's going to die. You really have great ganking potential now from RNG. Talon, I'm surprised they go back for the Tiny. I did mention it as a possibility, but I feel like up against the Dawnbreaker, and now with the Zeus, you would have been better off with Nyx, which Zephyr does play to a high level. So, not going to have that easy way of just locking down the Zeus. Spike Carapace to deal with him, a Manenburn Vendetta to hunt him down, Spike Carapace to deal with the Dawnbreaker, every single one for spells. You're not going to have that simple solution on hand now, unless Talon picks that Tiny for Mikoto. Tiny versus Zeus lane, we've seen that a couple of times. It's not as frequent, but it is playable for the Tiny. It's not a complete shutout, but it is also not the easiest lane because of how annoying Zeus is with a Heavenly Jump. So you're not going to get too many opportunities to kill him off as well unless he somehow mispositions for the Avalanche Toss. So still open for Talon. I think ideally right now I'm seeing for Talon, ideally you just give Mikoto the Tiny here, assume the mid Zeus, pick up the Nyx. Because that really covers a lot of your bases for Talon and to deal with the Dawnbreaker, to deal with Zeus. It is a little bit slower in lane, which is cause of concern. But the Tiny is also, you know, in some lane pairings, it's also not the most aggressive that you can be. And we saw that in the last game for Zephyr. And the Nyx should be able to still fill in that gap with KP's hero.
See where else they go, John. More bans to come out. The Shaman even being removed here by Talon. Well, it's not a hero we've seen very often throughout the major so far, but maybe just have an idea to themselves here, Talon, as to what they're picking up. 1 minute reserve time left to keep these bans going for Talon as well. Spending a lot of time making sure they do not get trapped in this draft, as they do also get rid of the Dazzle once again. And RNG, very focused on the core lineup of Talon. I mean, naturally, you've already got 2 supports here for the Radiant side, so no need to ban out any more supports. TA Void both being removed, fairly standard stuff. 1 more to go. Maybe you just continue focusing on those position 1s. Just make Savage's life as hard as humanly possible. And it did feel like that was the game plan going into that game one as well. Like you mentioned it quite a bit throughout the game, but it felt like Chalice was just tunnel visioned on Savage the whole game, and so was the rest of RNG. And maybe that's the point. They're paying respect to Savage. They know how fast this man can farm. They just want to make sure he does not have a game throughout the series. Just continue focusing him down.
Yeah, just give him a tough time. I think right now the best choice for Talon's to get one of those weirder Savage heroes on hand. His safe lane Doom is something that pops out to great success, at least in Southeast Asia. Lina safe lane, he's played Slark at least once, and Slark is like completely dead, but he still managed to make it work. So that could be the one way. Just go kind of left field on your safe lane pickup, kind of use it as a flex, and make RNG think twice about what they want. Although this time around, Talon does have last pick overall, so they're not really pressured to kind of get that out. And you see another Savage hero banned out, Monkey King taken away, Clockwork taken away from Talon, which is a really good way for RNG to kind of play with that Solar Guardian, so you don't have that option. And Talon will take the Lina, so it could be Savage Lina. It's right now looking more like the Mikoto Lina, but again, there's still that flex to run Mikoto Tiny, Savage Lina, Zephyr on something like the Nyx, which still feels really good. And this can cause RNG to kind of reconsider everything now. Maybe they expected something else on the mid. Maybe they're not quite sure. Maybe they straight up Lina mid. They adjust for it, and it turns out it's going to be on safe lane.
Absolutely. Raw never give up. They will go into the Zeus. So we do know the Dawnbreaker or Zeus should be a core now. The Ogre Magi, also a hero that's been popping its head recently, and it's just a decent hero, right? It offers you a stun, nice domination through the laning stage, and obviously the Bloodlust later on, also very effective. For a hero like Dawnbreaker, handing over that Bloodlust is always going to feel quite amazing as well. John, do you predict a core Dawnbreaker hero or a core Zeus? Because I'm leaning more towards the core Dawnbreaker for RNG, but what do you think?
I'd lean towards core Zeus, honestly. Dawnbreaker as a support needs less items than the Zeus. The Zeus support still feels like you're going to want your Aether Lens, you're going to want way more than you can find in slower games there. They will go with the Lion, though, so it's probably just core both. Both Dawnbreaker and Zeus on the core position. Lion with Burst, they've got a lot of damage flying out now. Thunder God's Wrath into Finger probably just gets you a fast pick-off. You have a lot of good smoke potential. We are still lacking a good hero to follow up on for the Solar Guardian. Until Lion Blink, you don't really have anyone. So I think for RNG, you just need one other big frontliner that just jumps in, and you can really just play this game from, I'd say, minute 7. You can run around once you have a couple level 6s there.
It certainly feels that way. Already a very strong start to the draft here for RNG. Talon going to be very careful not to get outpaced by the draft of RNG because it is very aggressive. Talon, 4th pick for themselves now. They've really got to watch the pacing of their own draft here as they might just go for the KP hero up next. And they will go for the Pangali. Not something we see KP on so often, but we have seen it enough times. And Pango just, it's a pretty good
that's Mikado. That's Mikado.
Oh.
That's more than likely Mikado Pango. And their last picking the KP hero, running the Savage Lina, Zephyr Tiny, along with a Hyde Winter Wyvern. Like, we have seen Pangolier mid as a solution to Zeus. Mind you, also not to great success, because I think it was Boom we were watching with Yopaj Pango that didn't quite do well, trying to chase down the Zeus. So let's see if Mikado has better luck. I don't think that's the best answer to the Zeus, but you do have a little bit more play with Tiny and Winter Wyvern and Lina. So it's not like you're all alone initiating. You still have teamfight that can come out from KP. What options does he have here? I'd say a Mars could work pretty well for KP here. Just giving you that additional hold, help the Pango have a consistent area to bounce on them, and just look for a wall near the arena to go off of. Could be one way of just relieving some of that pressure that the Pango has to have in order to just get multiple heroes down. Death Prophet's still there, but I don't think it plays into what Talon might want to do here. It is a little bit easier for Death Prophet game, though, so it's not too bad. I am worried if Talon allows something like a Spectre to come in, because you just Haunt, you Solar Guardian, you Thunder God's Wrath, that global strat, well, you're just going to get run down every single time that cooldown's off.
Oh, absolutely. And you still have heroes as well as the Nature's Prophet that you could pick up here for RNG if they want to go down that route as well. Mind you,
5
that might have to be a POS 1 profit if they did go down that route, but it would give you even more global presence here for RNG.
Team pick.
Ultimately as well, heroes still available like the Lycan could be very good for RNG. Hell, even if they want to take Medusa for themselves, it could be very potent against what Talon have. But personally, John, I really wouldn't mind seeing the Lycan pop up here for RNG if they really just wanted to snowball out of control. But again, you still have the Prophet, you still have the Medusa. They're going to go for the Bristleback instead. So it's all about tempo here for RNG. This is a draft that's not going to slow down. After the laning stage, say 15 minutes into the game, you get a couple items on this Bristle, maybe a Vanguard into an Aghanim Scepter. They're just going to run at you every single time.
10
And Talon,
seconds remaining.
I don't think their draft is too bad against the Bristle, John, but they certainly
5
don't have the
seconds
greatest
remaining.
answers.
I don't think it's actually that bad. Lina naturally builds into a Silver Edge third item, so you will have a break mechanic to deal with him. You've got enough magic damage on Lina plus Avalanche Toss and Tiny down the line to burst him down early on, so you have some solutions. I am keen to see what they will do in the laning phase to slow that down, because there's not many answers left to slow the Bristleback. DP is suboptimal, it feels like, although that will force the Bristle to consider something like an early Hood of Defiance just to deal with Spirit Siphon, but again, not particularly concerning as long as you turn your back. And they will go for the Sniper.
Hello.
I have not seen this out from Talon. Savage, Sniper, Mikado, Lina, and they will stick with a KP Pango. All right, so, you know what? I like this, because you don't have backline jump. We talked about mobility from RNG. Line Blink is their mobility, Mike. And that means Savage is going to be very safe in the backline until Kaka gets a blink.
John, my only problem with that, right, is you've got a Dawnbreaker. Chalice is playing that Dawnbreaker. Assuming you can close the gap, right? Like, assuming Anna breaks the gap on Savage, or even anyone else, X-Nova, Kaka gets in there with the Blink Earth Spike, you're going to have Chalice Solar Guardian in straight away, and with the global presence of the Zeus, with Nimbus and Thunder God's Wrath, I don't know if Savage is going to be able to survive. I realize it's not the greatest backline jump, but I don't know about this, John. POS 1 Sniper, it's going to be interesting. I feel like I'm lacking faith in it because, like you mentioned, we don't get to see Savage playing it very often. So I don't know what to expect here from Talon. But, well, John, I'll ask you the hard question before we do get into game number 2. Do you like the draft from Talon, or do you think RNG has a superior draft going into this second game?
I think it's relatively even. Both sides have a really good way of playing. Talon has decent mid-game timing now to play with. You don't need as much farm in comparison to last time. Sniper's probably your heaviest farming hero, and it's a pretty good solution to Bristleback. The point still stands. Maybe level 7 minutes is a scary time. You don't tend to take 2-minute levels and take aim. You're not going to have that massive range to just walk away or step away from the Impale, the Earth Spike, and that can be pretty scary as the Solar Guardian follow-up is there, but if you do manage to get the levels up, like, this is a Sniper and the Lina who can stand a mile back. So catching out these two long-range cores is going to be tough until the blink is up. And I think that's the concern. If Talon do manage to adapt and get their distancing just right to cut off that stun Solar Guardian play, you can kind of run this well. You've got pretty good long-range damage spells coming out with the Laguna and the Assassinate even. And it just gives him a few more options to deal with that Bristleback. So I think the pressure's on RNG to repeat what they did in Game 1. Because if they don't manage to run down these lanes, I think Talon has a pretty good chance of going for the outscale here.
I certainly agree with you on that, John. We'll see how this game number 2 does go. Of course, Talon backs against the wall now. RNG 1 game ahead in this best of 2 series. Talon would love to force a draw here, but naturally RNG would love the 2-0 victory. And based off the way they played that Game 1, they certainly are in a prime position to try and take the second game. But let's not judge too quickly. We'll see what happens. So there might be a fight to break out over those bounty runes prior to that 1 minute mark coming in. Problem is you are up against the Bristleback level 1, so chances are you don't really want to force a fight, but it seems like KP and Zeph are going to be able to zone Anna away from that top bounty, and it should still end up... Oh, it's actually be a 3-for-1. Okay, so RNG, they find 3 bounties anyway. Talon not in position to try and secure a second one, so already a net worth lead to go the way of RNG early on. A nice little cheeky start here for RNG. And while we're here, John, we'll start with the bottom lane. You're going to have 23 Savage and Hyde along, or rather against, Chalice on that Dawnbreaker and Kaka on the Lion. John, this is a very dangerous lane for Talon. Like, you get caught out once by an Earth Spike into the Starbreaker, you are just going to die as 23 Savage. There's just no surviving it.
Yeah, the one thing is that opening is usually in the first 3 levels. Once you do at least have the value point and take aim, it's not as bad for the sniper to just stand back. You can just plink away at Chalice if he does step a bit closer, and Hyde does have more play on that Winter Wyvern. Again, he just pops Arctic Burn, trades really nicely with Kaka, giving the space out to Savage. He's going to be the one copying the Earth Spikes here. So as long as it's not Savage receiving that, then setting up for the Hammer along with the Starbreaker is a little bit tougher, and Savage should be able to farm a lot better in comparison to Game 1 at least.
Of course, the other side lane, John, up at top lane, Anna and X-Nova going to be against Zephyr and KP once again. Zephyr, we already mentioned this, but had a pretty tough time in game number 1. See if you can kind of rectify that going into game 2 on the same hero, being the Tiny. KP, he'll switch it up with the Pos 3 Tango as Anna. And X-Nova going to take a fair bit of damage here, but going to be just fine to walk away. Very important against the Bristback as well, to just get as much damage in as early as possible. Once you get those initial points in the Bristleback, you're not going to get that much damage off. And well, bot lane, Savage is down. That combo we talked about, John, Earth Spike, Hex, into Starbreaker, and Celestial Hammer, you aren't going to survive right now if you are the sniper.
Yeah, you really just have to put your body here as Hyde, be the one to cop the spells, give Savage the farm. If you manage to focus him down, the lane becomes infinitesimally harder. You're going to need, again, levels and take aim there. At the least, top lane's also equally challenging for Anna.
Certainly is. Avalanche is there, but the stick charges are going to make sure Anna does survive. Is now Zephyr. Oh, he went too far for it. Anna, very nice bait with the stick charges. Is able to survive through it. Will even salve up thanks to X-Nova. So he's going to be just fine to stick around in the lane. And to be frank, John, he's almost got enough gold now for the Ring of Health anyway. So chances are he doesn't need to go back to the base for the reset. With that Talon, I think top lane, they've kind of almost missed their timing here to try and deal the damage to Anna that they needed to.
Yeah, you just gotta temper back the aggression, know when to really fully commit. The issue is they're both really tanky on RNG. Even trading with X-Nova can be pretty painful. So you have a lot of play there for RNG, and this is the point where that tiny support does need to soak a lot more EXP. You know, you don't have the value point in toss. You're gonna need to sap away from what KP wants to get, and Anna walks over. It doesn't quite buy out the Ring of Health though, but it's gonna be fine to walk away.
I like the way that Zephyr's just blocking the secret shop, just threatening Anna with an avalanche combination, but doesn't have the toss-up right now, so really can't even hope to kill Anna at the moment. With that Ring of Health is there. How's the mid lane been going? You've had Somnus and Makoto going at it, and for now, it's a very even affair once again between these two as top lane. Bit of a chase here onto KP. A nice avalanche, though, from Zephyr. And the swashbuckle will be enough to take down the Ogre. That'll be the first kill coming out for Talon much earlier on than, say, Game 1.
It's not the biggest kill, but certainly something KP needs. Gonna have the full urn flying out next, so you can maybe start to look for more kills, build up the charges, start running from there. RNG, again, though, their lanes are set up to be a lot faster. They are starting to find it. Mid lane, as you mentioned, still even, but I do feel like this is much more of a Zeus-favored lane. Your spam ability is just a lot better than the Lina.
Savage, Makoto, they're going at it, but Savage, the one taking too much damage here down at bot as Chalice, eventually is forced to back away. Meanwhile, mid lane, more rotations coming in now onto Somnus, but Savage actually chasing Chalice as his action all across the map. Nobody actually going to end up dying, though. With that, again, the aggression really kicking up from RNG already. Savage CSing very well right now on the sniper, but it's been a very dangerous time for the poor man. He is still finding the farm, though, which is certainly good news for Talon. Mid lane, though. Makoto has been caught out and is going to drop Kaka. Very smart rotation of the Lion. He will not even die. He stick charges mid-toss and he makes it out.
Yeah, just knowing the limits of his movement here on the line. Just preventing Talon from finding any trades back. Getting slowed down here from Makoto is pretty bad news. Again, this lane tends to favor the Zeus by a slight amount, at least in harassment back. Simply because Art Lightning is super annoying, and you're more mobile with Heavenly Jump in comparison to Lina. So Mikado can't really leverage his right clicks, walk forward, and try to harass. With that Fiery Soul, Zeus can always just kind of hop away. So, a bit of a slower start. RNG getting off on the right foot once more. starting to get the early timings they want, especially on Ana. The Vanguard's not too far off. KP's trying to get aggressive with Zephyr, though.
He's trying. Not really too much they can do, even against the Ogre right now. Xnova will just kind of tank through it. Bot lane, Hyde, may just get jumped. Earth Spike is there. Chalice in with the Starbreaker, and that's going to be more than enough. Savage trying to get some sort of a trade, but gets nothing. He's only level 4 right now on the Sniper, and look at this Chalice just running him down. No fear in the world. Savage, he's trapped up by the creep wave. He'll try to run the other way, but Chalice, he'll keep chasing him down. Luckily, there was no Starbreaker available, but the TPs are coming in. Meanwhile, Kaka, he does go down to Savages. Now they've gone a bit too far. Chalice, he's going to drop. Hyde with the rotation to make the kills work. 3 to 4 now. And Talon, they are putting a fight back up here against RNG for game number 2. It's Makoto, mid lane, will be chased down by the Zeus, but Xnova, he's going to intervene and help out Somnus. Makoto eventually should just drop and does. This Kaka even rotates over on the line, and that'll be another. Zephyr trying to help his mid laner out, but it's not going to be enough as Somnus will continue chasing, but Zephyr still alive for now. Surely not for long, as Xnova is there with the Fire Blast very soon, but the toss-up, Zephyr still trying. The Ignite, though, going to connect with the Earth Spike. It's off the mark, but the Thunder God's Wrath, it'll get the job done. So they do at least get Xnova for their trouble. But finding Makoto on the Lina, that's the big deal. They do find it.
And they're building up quite nicely now on Somnus. Makoto does have a little bit more EXP to play with, and is going into that BKB, so jumping him like that gonna be a lot tougher until you get that blink up on Kaka, but does feel like he has been having a pretty good time on the Lion, at least in getting action out for his team. 4-6, much more even in this game, as Talon are holding out quite nicely. They are giving Ana quite some space here, though. Again, Vanguard already up in the bristle, straight to the Ags. Next, Ana's just going to be looking to running around, and they're just not pressuring him as much as RNG's pressuring Savage. Smoke out now from RNG, looking to head down bot and plump up.
Absolutely. Kaka, still front line. Somnus will be right behind the line as they'll get some wards down. High ground in that Radiant jungler. Makoto again going to get caught out. Perfect warding here from Kaka. Just reading the movement once again from the mid lane of Talon. Zephyr, he does get a quick D-ward out, but the damage is already done. Makoto, he had such a great laning start with the CS, but it's really fallen behind quite a bit thanks to all these kills coming out.
KP.
In a bit of trouble. Xnova trying to force out the Rolling Thunder, but never mind that. KP not even going to have a chance to do so, as Xnova was there with the stun out. Another kill to go the way of RNG.
And you're building up on RNG 4-8. And you're going to hit those early timings on your Zeus here as well, going for the Kaya. And once that's up and running, going to be really easy to burst some of these heroes down, especially since the BKBs are still a ways off for a lot of them. So you've got that big window now for RNG to play that aggressive game that we saw from game 1. And Talon, it's going to be stall once more. Just need to try to keep stalling. They'll catch Chalice.
Nice rotation from Zephyr. KB going to be around as well, and Talon, realizing how important Chalice was in game number 1, will really ensure that he could not have a game on this Dawnbreaker. Just feeding more kills back the way of 23 Savage.
Yeah, I like this change from Talon. They're emphasizing helping out Savage more, enabling their sniper to hit that early pace. KP's been getting a lot more active in comparison to his DP last time around. The one thing with Talon, though, is that they can't really use these kills to force a push. They have decent right click, but you're not going to be expecting your sniper and your leans to really focus on that. Kaka.
Top lane again. Winter's Curse is there, though. Hyde trying to turn this one around. Chalice going to delete his teammate as Makoto can keep going. And now Zephyr. What an avalanche toss combination. Chalice, he will keep running, though, but the chase is on. Chalice, he's going to be okay to survive through it. But they do find Kaka on the Lion. A very nice curse out from Hyde, and so important for Hyde to continue landing these big curses throughout these engagements as now Xnova dropping rather low on the Ogre, but he's going to be okay to survive through it.
Yeah, they're starting to get some pretty big stacks out for both Ana and Chalice to start clearing out. Important for both these heroes to find those early pickups. BKB for Chalice can be key in taking some of these fights, especially since the counterplay right now from Talon is just that curse on the Silver Guardian when they do try to set up the line. And that is enough to kind of throw it off. You also really need that Ags on Honestal, as we mentioned. Once you have the Nasal Goo going everywhere, the bonus damage from Warpath always being up is going to be an issue. As long as Ana can walk up to a target, these heroes are fairly squishy on the side of Talon. So you've always got a good response. And RNG, just go for the smoke again.
Radiant are scanning.
I mean, why the hell not? RNG
Dire are scanning.
really just trying to match or just increase the pace here against Talon. Into the triangle they go, but this time around Savage won't be around. Instead, they'll loop behind Makoto and hide and see if they can catch off this Wyvern into the Lina. In fact, it's a big wrap around Makoto and hide. They don't realize that Thunder God's Wrath is there. That'll give all the vision they need. And the Wyvern already gone here for hide as Makoto. He's going to try to find a way out, but there's no way out. Kaka will hand over the finger. RNG finding their 10th kill of the game. 1k advantage now the Dire's way. And
Radiant's
again, a
bottom
very nice
tower is under
wraparound,
attack.
making life as difficult as possible for
Radiant
Makoto.
structures are fortified.
It's a big to find the Lina. You slow down that BKB that he really needs to stand up front and just not care about the Lion, not care about the Zeus.
There's a wraparound here bot lane, John. KP gonna be around, but Starbreaker does stop the Rolling Thunder. Here it comes. Assassinate will be there to follow up, but Chalice is still alive. Salves up. KP gonna try and take him out with the swashbuckle, but it's not gonna be enough. The salve does save the day as KP. He'll keep running towards the north. Somnus,
Dire's middle tower
no
is
way
under
to stun
attack.
here, so KP is gonna be just fine to back his way out. And in the meantime, Makoto trying to get that pressure onto the mid-tier 1 tower. Does do quite a bit of damage here to RNG's mid-tier 1. And so nobody ends up dying down at that bot lane so far. Happy days for both teams. But you've got to admit, John, Talon doing a decent job this game number 2. Kind of forcing RNG across the map, but not allowing them to get the kills they want.
Yeah, they're not getting too much for the movement coming out. You're pretty happy with how the network's distributed right now for Talon, considering you're 4 kills behind. You're not too far behind on network at all. Like, Ana still number 1, but only by a slight margin. We're also getting that build up on Somnus, but Mikado's also not that far behind in comparison to the Zeus. The BKB timing should still line up. You're going to have a much faster blink here for Zephyr as well in comparison to game 1. And you're going to have that Spirit Vessel for KP sooner rather than later to kind of stop that Bristleback from feeling too tanky from the Solar Guardian heal. So some answers are presenting themselves. RNG still feels like they just have way more uptime in this aggression. When Fingers back up and Thunder God's Wrath is there, you can just smoke out, get a stun, and kill. You can always just play with that tempo for RNG. And Talon will have to understand that tempo a little bit more. They've just been caught off guard by the smokes a couple too many times. Although they are lining up top, but without Zephyr's blink, gap closing right now is pretty tough.
Yeah, they are making, again, life as hard as possible here for Chalice. And it does go back to the meta a little bit. See, Pos 3 right now is one of the most important roles in the game, if not the most important, as Zephyr is going to move in with the Tumbler's Toy, but he's going to get an avalanche off, and that'll be enough. Maybe just trying to force rotations from RNG, but no TPs do come in. RNG not flinching as KP now. He's going to show up. They'll see Chalice, but Chalice also sees him, and that's going to be enough to force him back into the tree line. As now Solar Guardian onto Savage. They've got the sniper locked down, and Kaka setting up another great fight here for RNG. Hyde going to try and survive, but the Cold Embrace is going to be fine for now. They'll try to punish Chalice for his insolence, and maybe they find him with the Laguna and the Rolling Thunder. It's going to be enough. Thing is, it's a great trade for RNG, finding that position 1 sniper, and now Ana, he can really start to pull ahead of this Pos 1.
Yeah, he's building up. Ags only 400 gold away, and that's up and running. You have to find some way of stopping Ana. No Silver Edge in sight yet for Mikado. I mean, he's still saving up for that BKB. You're also probably going to want the Diffusal on KP after the Blink. And likelihood is he might just go Blink Yields. I think a little bit of mana burn will make Ana's life a lot tougher. That could be an angle he takes down the line here as well. 17-11, 3k lead popping out for RNG off the back of those kills. Savage needs his own BKB. Like, he's going for Dragonlance first, and they might find Kaka.
Yeah, they should have him here. Savage, he'll take the kill with the Assassinate. Got to pick up there onto Kaka as Ana gives the wall plate over to his support. A T1 top tower now to be focused down by KP, but We are 15 minutes into the game, so it is going to be quite a late side lane T1 to take. And RNG, they do actually have a chance to come defend this if they really want to. But it seems like they're more than happy with the timing of the T1 going down, and they might just let this one go. Maybe focus on the mid lane T1 tower of the side of Talon. Chalice is already there with X-Nova, applying the pressure, but Makoto will be around to try and defend this, and looks like it might just be enough to force RNG back. At least they are moving up to defend the top tier 1 now against KP. And so Talon, they don't really get much out of this. Just forcing rotations once again from RNG, but RNG, they don't really seem to mind. Anna's still farming, and the Ags is up and completed. This KP, maybe they'll go for a bit of a chase, but nah, they won't get nothing. Just back up to the top tier 1 they go.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Really curious about what our odds are looking like here, and it is heavily favoring RNG Talon, considering that game 1 and considering the performance in the tournament overall. Probably very right in those odds. Just not the easiest time here for Talon and Savage.
Yeah, he's been watched, John. Anna's going to make his way over. Somnus, he'll stun him up for a moment. Savage, not going to make it out. Realizes it as well, as he will just drop. Anna, he'll take the kill. RNG, they've just found so many pickoffs around this area. Just able to always sneak their way in as they'll hide. Shows up for a moment, and Kaka, no hesitation, just jumps right in. This KP, he might try to find a trade onto this line, but can't get it. There's just no damage. Onto the mid-tier 1 tower RNG goes, and really just no way of stopping them. Nothing they can do right now, I don't think, Talon.
Yeah, just give it away. Talon cut their losses, tried to play elsewhere, keep getting that build up. You do have the BKB and Mikado, so there's a little bit more play. A little bit strange of Hyde to just stand there. He literally froze in place for like a second without moving, so gave that opportunity up to RNG. Gets punished without the Winter Wyvern, no curse, no play. Talon, there's a couple of weird things going on here, Mike. Hyde is going for Ags on his support Winter Wyvern. Like, it is a valuable Winter Wyvern Ags game, but I feel like you could get away with a couple of, intermediary items. Maybe a Blink, Glimmer Cape to save from the magic damage, at the very least, to mitigate some of that Zeus output. Force Staff to reposition your sniper if he's caught off guard. But they prioritize the Yags. I mean, if Hyde manages to find that in good timing, that could be one way to just make that Bristleback feel a lot softer. It's still a pause 5 trying to farm an Ags here, though.
Yeah. It certainly does feel valuable, like you mentioned, against the Bristle and even the Dawnbreaker. And it could even be just perhaps about the extra vision you get with that Arctic Burn throughout these engagements. It might just be about that, because consider, John, you are fighting against the Zeus, who just gets all the vision with that Thunder God's Wrath. So maybe they want to kind of match that with Hyde, but it is certainly an interesting item choice here from the Wyvern, that's for sure. RNG, we'll have to be careful now. Talon smoked up as 4, but RNG, they are grouped up, ready to go, and Chalice, he just got his BKB. This is perfect timing for RNG to force a fight. They will throw in at least the Ogre, but the Solar Guardian is going to fly through. Still Makoto has his own BKB and will try to force a fight now onto Chalice, who does pop his own BKB. Back in onto Zephyr. Will continue chasing down the Tiny, but won't find nothing. RNG, losing one Ogre for now. They will not be able to get any form of revenge onto Talon. And that should be good enough for Talon for now. Just happy with the kill they get. But RNG, they are not. They'll smoke up as 3. Anna will follow. See if they can find a pick off up at the top lane. And Zephyr, he is around the corner. He might break the smoke, but it may cost his own life as the smoke is broken on Chalice now. And Somnus, he pops the ulti, gets the vision, and they'll take the kill. Successful trade here for RNG once again.
They catch out Zephyr, bigger kill in the Tiny compared to the Ogre Magi. They don't manage to find any other stragglers, and Zephyr sacrifice does allow Talon to back off, but still building up for RNG once more. 9-14, 2K lead still standing, not as wide as it was in game 1. Ana still having a pretty free game on its Bristleback. The Talon aren't completely shut out yet. Savage with the Militrim should be able to farm. He is working onto his shard into the BKB. He's got some protection when he does get jumped once those items are up. Looks like he will opt for BKB first. That should cut off a lot of the angles for RNG in jumping. He's got to react pretty quick to the Blink X, and long as Kaka's on top, that still shouldn't be an issue for RNG.
Must admit, John, I've never seen that weapon on Bristleback. The whole fish thing he's holding right now. That's a new one, at least for me. I like it though. What's it called?
It's a nice one.
The Bog Stomper Fish Club. Very nice.
Yeah. Very, very nice. Very, very embarrassing to die to Bristleback being slapped around by a fish. A very, very suitable item for Ana. Enjoying himself there. But it's never fun if you're on the receiving end. That is Talon that's experienced right now, KP.
Yeah, gonna get stunned up here. Chalice again, and the finger. Kaka, 4 finger stacks now already on that line. 20 minutes into the game as they even down hide on the Winter Wyvern. He does have Curse up if he wants to commit and try to run, but instead he'll go for the Cold Embrace, and they will secure another kill here for RNG. It's 2 go down top lane. Again, at least Makoto and Savage, they are trying to farm their way up, and they are doing a decent job of it, but like you just mentioned, John, Ana, he's still just out-farming them quite a bit on this Bristleback, and well, sadly for Talon, they still don't have a way of breaking the Bristle.
We'll have one soon. Silver Edge being farmed out by Mikoto already has a Shadow Blade at the least. So once that break mechanic's up, it should be much easier to handle that Bristleback for sure. Gonna take more time, but not too much time. So some solutions are presenting themselves. RNG, I mean, they could start to plateau. This Zeus is, you know, up against BKBs. It's not going to feel great. And Talon will go for their first big group up for the smoke here.
They will. Talon. They'll move in. And smoke up. Can they find? Hide. He'll get some wards down. X-Nova will be spotted. So Zephyr makes the jump in onto the Yoga. That'll be the Pos 5 gone here for RNG. Not the greatest kill in the world, but maybe they can rotate into Roshan. Still, Zephyr has been caught out. A curse is there, but it only catches one. Chalice still fine, but now the toss back. Zephyr setting up another kill. We'll find a second as Ana. Spirit Vessel is there. He'll BKB up and does find Zephyr. Meanwhile, towards the south, Kaka tried to move in, but could not get Savage as he drops as well. Talon successfully able to fight back now against RNG, but the fight's not over yet. Ana, he'll show up once again. He might just find Hyder here on the Wyvern, but Arctic Burn is out, and that's going to be enough to get him out of there. So a successful team fight the way of Talon this game around. And RNG, back to the drawing board for them.
Yeah, I mean, there is that one thing Talon can do about Ana. In the middle of these fights, you could still ignore the Bristol. At least until the point where he gets an Abyssal, you really need to consider yourself too much. If you can kite him around, and you do have enough to kite here from Talon's end, so they prioritize the other target first, they back off. Ana can't really keep chase, and a hit and run does go Talon's way. Still a 2k lead for RNG though, not the biggest loss in the world, because Ana is still up there, although his lead is only about 1k now on that Bristle, working towards his Blink and the Assault Cuirass. That's going to be the point where it's going to be pretty hard to ignore him. And he's starting to take the charge here.
And he is, but they've got a Silver Edge up. Still, it won't matter. KP already gone is now Zephyr. Going for a toss back, but the Solar Guardian is going to be there to help out still Kaka. Does at least drop, and now the curse is out onto Chalice. They've locked in 3 of them, but do they have the follow-up? Chalice, he's going to barely survive as Talon. They will back their way out. But keep in mind Makoto, he does have Silver Edge up now. So maybe they can force it onto Ana. Ms. Ana is going to back off, and they will not find the opening they were looking for. So a successful team fight this time around for RNG. And hell, they might even force Roshan here with the Bristle. But never mind Ana, he turns around, goes the other way.
Yep. Still a little bit risky to go into the Roshan. I mean, Winter's Curse is down. But if it was up, it would be a bit tough. That would have been an opening, but probably not feeling too safe without the line to help them set up for that fight. Talon is getting that build up. With that Silver Edge up in Mikado, this is the moment where you can get a lot more aggressive, and Savage is a lot more protected with that BKB. So this is where things can kind of kick into gear. You're not completely worried about Somnus trying to burst everyone down now. On the Zeus, his output just stops for several seconds. That's more than enough time to try to get a handle on that hero. But RNG, despite that little bit of back and forth, they still have that 4k lead. Widening it back up, blink up on Ana. So you can't just ignore him. He will jump on top of you. You've got to be able to jump him first. And we'll see whether or not Mikado finds the angles with his Silver Edge.
We'll see. There's going to be a smoke up here from Talon. Savage, he will not be smoked, but he'll be right behind the team. Well, that blink from Ana is certainly going to be very effective in being able to jump the backline right onto Savage. Zephyr barely missing out on Kaka, but they'll find Ana instead. But look at the blink here and hide. Already being targeted here. The Arctic Burn's going to allow him to get away for now. Talon roaming around. Solar Guardian will be there, but the Rolling Thunder stunning him up immediately as Ana and Kaka does go down by Makoto. He's in such big trouble. He will drop on the Lina as Ana just rushes him. Chalice still chasing Hyde on that Wyvern is not going to be able to get him. It will end up being a 2-for-2 trade, but it is still in the favor of RNG is now Somnus. Going to be attacked by Savage, but I'm not sure about this one, Savage. He'll go for a TP out with the BKB, and he's going to make it. He just wanted to try for a very quick kill onto the Zeus beforehand, but now RNG, seeing the TP out by Savage, will go right into the Roshan, and it doesn't appear to be any way of stopping this from happening.
Goes a bit too fast. Zephyr does have blink, but they need to move quickly, and just not going to be quick enough. Ana with 2 lives, much bigger issue to deal with. That split up fight just constant. Mikato needed to be on point with a break. It wasn't there.
Certainly not. Zephyr now. They'll be okay to blink out on the Tiny. 15 to 21. 6k advantage the way of RNG. Talon certainly putting up a much better fight this game too. You see that Dota Plus score, John, not looking too healthy the way of Talon. 79% the way of RNG. They do find Hyde down to that bot lane as well. Kaka, just an absolute menace on his signature Lion. And John, 6 finger kills now. So 240 bonus damage on those fingers. Very nice.
Lots of HP coming out as well with the Talon. Lots more durable on that hero. Only having the 4-staff really for stats. More than enough. RNG, 7k lead. Just need to clear out some of those tier 2s, and then they can pressure high ground. The high ground hold of Talon is decent. They've got Curse, they've got a sniper to stall out the game somewhat, but they do have really good jump. Like with the ads from Somnus, just Nimbus on the supports, and just have Kaka go in first as well, and Solar Guardian top, and you clean up very fast. I think that's the issue for Talon, especially if they lose Hyde. If Hyde dies, your counterplay is gone. You really need that Curse to help get control, especially through the BKBs. And Hyde has no way of being defensive. Again, no Blink, no Glimmer Cape, no 4-staff. He's just dead caught out.
We go. Top lane, KP has been caught out, and that's going to be another kill to go the way of RNG as Chalice now able to afford the full basher up and does pick it up immediately. Even more kind of utility here for the Dawnbreaker. Oh, Solar Guardian is out. Zephyr is caught. Kaka once again, setting up another great fight. Well, Tiny just not long for this world as RNG just not slowing down, just rushing the side of Talon. They will lose X-Nova thanks to Makoto. With that, RNG, they might just slow down for a moment. Not wanting to go too far into that Lina. Or back off.
Yeah, just no need to rush. Aegis still standing for about 2 minutes 40. You've got Ana with his own basher ready to go. Upgrade for the Abyssal, only 700 gold away. And once that's up, with a blink, again, you can't just ignore the Bristleback. So we'll have to see if Hyde's investment on his Ags is going to pay off, as he does have gold for it.
Kaka's trying to solo this Lina, and he's going to do it too. Oh, Kaka! I mean, he had the Nimbus from Somnus, but that's a real concern if you're this Lina, John. Like, Makoto, he gets stunned up, and he's just dead.
Yeah, it's again, you have BKBs, but you have to anticipate the line, and you still have really good jump from RNG to preempt the BKB use. Tal needs good vision. They do have decent wards, but so does RNG to play offensive, and RNG's just been leveraging that information game, even all the way back in game 1. They're always on point with where they want to play, where they know the enemy will want to play, and just punish them constantly.
Just incredible play from the support line. I mean, it's something you come to expect from Kaka on this hero, but it's here every time. As now Zephyr gonna make the jump in. X-Nova already gone, but Zephyr, he's in big trouble now. The Solar Guardian will fly through. Ana, meanwhile, has found Savage. Bash is there. There will be a curse out to try and protect the sniper, but it's not gonna be enough. This Blink Dagger on Ana really paying off now, as there's 4 heroes down for Talon. It just happens so quick.
Yeah, and now you can clean up an RNG. Go for the additional tier 2s, threaten onto the high ground. Aegis not the most time left. They have managed to just build up your lead once more, shut down Talon. Savage, he's got some farm, it's just not enough farm. Needing that Hurricane Pike now, understanding that he will just be jumped. The shard not enough to keep him safe. And still a ways off from getting that, even just a Force Staff from that equation. Respawns are fairly short at least for Talon, so they're going to be around for the defense. You really need Hyde here. And again, he does have the Ags, so maybe they can slow it down somewhat with that Arctic Burn when he does come back up.
Free tower, John just can't survive. Anna hitting for about 500 damage right now with these right clicks. Not very fun to have to watch your base fall to this bristleback like this, but Talon, without the sniper, have no way of defending. But have to watch it go down. RNG, they will spare them a second Rax for now. Just back off and get back to the drawing board. Get a reset and maybe come back a bit later on, but there's a 16k advantage as bot lane. KB, he'll get the Rolling Thunder, and he will be able to survive for the meantime. The Somnus getting tipped here by Anna. Not exactly sure what happened there, but it won't matter too much.
Yeah, and I mean, you managed to force out the roll. It's not the longest cooldown in the world, but you're also stopping KP from just holding a lane and trying to build his own farm up. 1728, 17k lead for RNG. They only have one outer tower left to worry about from Talon. They're one racks up. Talon haven't made any inways towards tier 2s. It's another slow game. Again, better circumstances than game 1, but it doesn't feel all too much better. I mean, they need to find a way of playing with what they have. Because they have enough to get those kills, but they're not really able to find the big ones. They're finding support kills here and there. They haven't been able to touch this bristleback. Anna's still 6-0-4.
That he is, John. That he is. He's just got no fear in the world either. Like, he'll just blink right into that sniper or even Makoto on the Lina. Again, the blink dagger really paying off here for this bristleback this game. And he always knows he's got the backup. Chalice will always be there with the Solar Guardian in case he needs it. And hell, now Chalice has got an overwhelming blink himself. So it just gets worse and worse for the backline of Talon, being the sniper and the Lina. They are still farming, and yeah, they've got some great high ground defense as 5, but it's still going to be rough, and we might find out very soon how that high ground will go as RNG are slowly setting up for the bot lane. They won't commit yet, but Makoto, oh, he's going to get jumped on. Kaka, he just has no mercy. Right in. Earthspike was there. Zephyr gonna try and punish, but the Aeon Disc is out. Kaka will not die. KP's gonna roll back towards Anna, but that's not where you want to go right now. Anna stuns him up. The physical damage is just way too high. This KP's still running. Anna, he won't die Fountain. That's something new.
Yeah, plays it safe, plays it smart, opts clear out the racks, and
First is there, but Kaka is still safe. Nothing coming out here from Anna. Kaka, was that
E-Blade.
E-Blade was out from Somnus, and now the double stun. Away onto Makoto. He'll try to fight back on the Lina. It might be getting close to that time where the Fountain Dive start coming, John. They're moving pretty darn close here on RNG. Makoto getting jumped by Chalice, but no, Ethereal Blade will save the day for Makoto now as Kaka is going to back his way out, but he has his own Ghost Scepter now. 2 racks is up here for RNG, 3 down for Talon. It was a full team wipe that last engagement. And to make matters worse, John, there's a double damage rune sitting at that bottom rune spot. So RNG, they could really just come back at any time.
They've got the full AC ready to go here on Ana once the courier comes in. So even more durability coming out from that bristle. It feels like they need a Linkens on at least one. Like, legitimately, just to block the Hex and just get your BKB off when Kaka jumps, because that's been the one play that RNG's been playing off the back of, and they haven't itemized against it on Talon. Roshan is up, going to be taken from RNG very quickly here. Roshan number 2 with 3 shards. Big shards to hand over onto Ana, but they'll give it to Kaka instead, so he's got even the spell immunity on the mana drain split.
And why not? Why not? Kaka's just been incredible. And look at Anna onto Hyde, finds the Wyvern. Still, maybe they can find their revenge this time around. The Laguna is there. That'll be the first life. A good start here for Talon, at least finding that Aegis. It's KP. Roll around onto X-Nova, but we'll back off as now. Earth by Kaka once again onto Savage. Anna just gonna rush him down. This sniper just trying to get away, but Anna, he won't let it happen. He just goes right after Makoto afterwards. And Zephyr will toss him up, but the GG's called. Talon, no buybacks available. RNG just proving to be the better team here today, John. First game around, I gave props to Chalice. This second game, John, you gotta mention Kaka. This man's lying. It's always just so incredible.
Yeah, you really put that game on his back there. They played perfectly with just that. We mentioned it from the draft. They had no other way of playing with that Solar Guardian threat and the global threat with Zeus. But Kaka delivered the goods. He was all they needed. As when he got the blink up.